Always a pleasure to be joined by Ken Bolke from Sin Bin Vegas, and there was probably a little bit of clenching going on in that overtime in Game 4 as the Golden Knights, facing a 2-1 deficit to Minnesota, got an OT winner from Ivan Barbashev to even it up. And listen, obviously you cover the Vegas Golden Knights, but I want to ask you a little bit about your impression of this Minnesota team. What's allowed this to be a tighter series than what people expected?
I think the biggest part is their top line is dominant. They've been so good in this series. They cannot find an answer for Kirill Kaprizov when he has the puck. Matt Boldy is forechecking the Golden Knights into oblivion, and Eriksson Ek has just kind of hung around in the front and created problems. So it's been really, really impressive how good they've been.
So Ken, with that being said, if you're a Golden Knights fan and you're sitting here going, all right, we got to 2-2, what happens next? Are you feeling good because your top line hasn't really done much, or are you feeling bad because where have they been? And oh my God, I don't know if they're going to score in this series.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, right? Because like in one end, you're like, well, Jack Eichel has 1 point, Mark Stone has 1 point. Neither have gotten a goal. Mark Stone's point came when he shot the puck off two guys that were dead off to the side of the goal. Like, there's got to be more than this. But also, it's like we're 4 games in. Bruce Cassidy's swapping all the lines around and trying to go a different route here. It's like they do seem to be a little bit concerned. I don't really know how you can feel great about what's going to come for Eichel and Stone as you move forward. And really all of the top guys. Nobody's really playing great for the Golden Knights so far in this series. But at the same time, it's 2-2. So it's like you're there. You're in it. You got home ice advantage. You're in a good spot. But they're going to have to play better. Like, I don't know that they've been the better team in maybe any of the 4 games. The first one they won by 2, but I don't know that they've been better in any of the 4 of them.
So what do you attribute that to? Is that part of like just the line mixing? Like, does that where it come from? Is it on the players themselves? Is it something that Minnesota is doing to them? What do you see as the reason why the Golden Knights have struggled to produce?
I think one of the biggest things has just been Minnesota's like ability. I don't know if that's the word. It's like a commitment, maybe is a better word. You were using C words. I'm allowed to use C words. Their commitments to staying to the middle of the ice has been really good. And the Golden Knights do not have an elite group of wingers. Like, you look up and down the lineup, outside of Mark Stone, there's not a lot of great wingers. So they have to find ways to generate things on the outsides, and that's just not happening. So now it's coming and kind of falling on the defensemen, and this isn't a team that scores a ton from their defensemen. They get points, but they don't score a lot of goals. So I think that's been kind of the reason why they've been struggling to get to the front, struggling to generate consistent offense. And even though the shot numbers are there, the Corsi numbers are there, even the expected goals numbers are there, they're not getting as many super dangerous chances as what it takes one pass from Kirill Kaprizov to generate something more dangerous than the Golden Knights have gotten for 15 minutes there.
What's been the general feel on Adin Hill in this series? Like, obviously his stat line isn't great, but he doesn't face a lot of rubber, which I know can kind of hurt the traditional save percentage metric. But just like looking at his his career page here, this is the first time he's had to play north of 40 regular season games in a year. Is there any concern maybe that he was overplayed a bit in the regular season, or do you not buy into that?
I don't know that it's overplayed because it ended up being 50. And I feel like when we start talking about splitting hairs, like what would you want? What's the perfect amount? I think 50 might be the perfect number. So I don't think we can go down even further than that and do 41. Like, you're really pushing it there. I wouldn't say he's overworked. I don't know that he's been good or bad necessarily. Like, he made a couple of big time saves, but he's also had a couple that you would like to have had him erase. So to me, like, he's been basically just back there doing his job. And when the Golden Knights have gotten and put him in positions to make stops, he'll make the stop. When it breaks down in front of him and they have turnovers behind the goal and then a pass right out and into the low slot, he's probably not going to erase that one. And he's been doing that most of the season. When they defend at a high level, he's been great. When they don't, he has not. And that's kind of where you end up with 854 through 4 games. Not particularly good, but also he has not, I would definitely not say he's the reason they've lost any of the games, either of the two, and I don't think he would have been the reason that they would have lost game 4.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought up the defense, because I can't believe what we saw from Shea Theodore at some points of this series. And obviously much better for him in game 4, but that one game -4 only played 16 minutes. I mean, so uncharacteristic of him. if you were to grade out this Golden Knights defense as a whole for this series, what letter grade would you give it?
C plus maybe, because they have generated some of the offense. Petrangelo got a goal, Hannafin got a goal, Theodore got the one in game 4 in the power play. Like, they have generated some of their offense, and that's been some of their 5-on-5 offense, which has been a problem. But yeah, the biggest issue is they're getting forechecked into problems over and over and over again. And like you said, that was game 2, that Theodore just could not stop passing the puck to the other team. It was wild to see. Like, I've never seen a game that bad by any Golden Knight ever. Like, any individual Golden Knight, I've never seen one that bad. And then, granted, good for him. He turned it around. He was one of their better players in game 4, so he was better. It's just they've got to find a way. They keep sitting here saying, we're going to stop turning it over. If we just stop handing them opportunities, we'll be fine. But then Trennan rams a guy behind the goal, and now you've got one right out front. Boldy is picking pockets of everybody, even if you want to yap about that one being icing. You still have 2-on-1, and Boldy just steals it, walks to the front, and puts it in the back of the net. Like, the errors, the challenges that have been made that have caused that a lot of these goals, you can say they're self-inflicted, but then when you watch these games and you watch how good these players are forechecking them, it's not. There is another team, and that has been the problem. Granted, game 4 ended with the Wild doing exactly that, giving the Golden Knights the game winner in overtime.
I hope this makes sense, but this Golden Knights team and what you've seen through 4 games, let's say they get past Minnesota. Has anything you've seen here have you less convinced that they're a team capable of going on a deep run, or is this just maybe a worse matchup for them stylistically than people thought?
I guess the challenge is it depends on the next opponent, because if the next opponent is LA, then is that not just a better version of the Minnesota Wild? Like, you would think that it's kind of going to be a similar style. And they're not necessarily doing that in that series. They can't hold on to a lead to save their lives. But if they play the Golden Knights, I don't think you're going to get 3-goal comebacks every single night the way that it's going there. If they play Edmonton, like, I think it's going to be completely different. And all of a sudden, you're not going to be gummed up through the neutral zone. You're not going to be having a hard time getting to the front. And maybe we see a completely different team. So as far as I'm concerned, though, the worry is getting through these 3 games. I'm not convinced they're going to win this series yet. I still think they're in a fine spot. I'm interested in what happens with the line mix up here with Carlson playing with Eichel. That's a huge roll of the dice that they've never done before. That's really loading it up defensively and saying, we've got to take away that top line. If that goes well, maybe we start feeling differently, but I'm not looking forward ahead at all yet, because they are not in a great position to win this, to say, like, I'm for sure they're going to win this, which I did feel, a week ago.
So let's wrap with this, because let's just play hypothetical, Ken. If the Golden Knights don't win this series, there's been lots of speculation. Hey, what happens next with this coaching carousel? We got eyes on Jim Hiller and his decision-making. How does he come back from that in LA? We've got eyes on John Cooper and the Tampa Bay Lightning. What happens next after this fantastic 12-year run? The Golden Knights just won the cup a couple years ago, but I've seen people say publicly, and I don't really understand where it's coming from, hey, Bruce Cassidy could be one of those guys that they make a coaching change if the Golden Knights lose round 1. Does that make any sense to you?
Not really. There's always going to be the way that it ended in Boston, and people are going to say, well, he loses the room and the guys stop respecting him, and that, or maybe not respecting him, but the message doesn't get through anymore because he's kind of a hard ass on them, and sometimes that can wear on guys. To me, that's insane. Like, he's won the division 2 out of the 3 times. He's getting 50 wins year after year. They won the Stanley Cup. They're one of the most structured teams in the league. Like, to me, if this doesn't go well and they fall apart in this series, or at least even if it's a close 2 games here and they lose them both, it's not on Bruce Cassidy. Look at the construction of the roster and look at where the downfalls are, because there are some pitfalls in this roster. The good news is they've got room. They've got cap space, which I know the rest of the league hates to hear, but the Golden Knights actually do have cap space moving forward, and they can make this team better. I think firing Bruce Cassidy would be absurd, and I think it would be one of the fastest a coach gets picked up you've ever seen. The moment he gets fired, he's the head coach of someone else, and probably someone else that's going to beat the Golden Knights quickly, kind of what happened with DeBoer. Not that they did a bad thing there, but I could see that happening. If he gets fired, it's ridiculous, like absolutely ludicrous.
Ken, always a pleasure having you on the show. Enjoy the rest of the series, and we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Seravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.